The NBA draft is supposed to be a night of hope, excitement, and bright futures. For most players, it's the moment their dreams come true. But for one player in particular, that night was more, well, uneventful. He was selected in the midst of a Taco Bell commercial. This is the unlikely story of Nikola Jokic, the 41st pick in the 2014 NBA draft. And yet that 41st pick would eventually become one of the most dominant forces the NBA has ever seen. Before we dive into how Jokic became the superstar we know today, let's rewind. Born in the city of Sombor, located in northern Serbia, Jokic's journey to NBA stardom wasn't paved with luxury. In fact, he grew up in a cramped two-bedroom apartment. His family wasn't living in the lap of luxury, far from it. The apartment housed not just Nikola, but his two older brothers, his parents, and even his grandmother. Despite the limited space, Jokic found a way to fall in love with basketball, and it was his two older brothers, Strahinja and Nemanja, who helped make that possible. Strahinja and Nemanja were a decade older than Nikola, and both played basketball in Serbia. But basketball wasn't the only sport Nikola loved growing up. No, he had another passion that might surprise you. As a child, he was hooked on horse racing. He even competed as an amateur, and this is a passion that has stuck with him to this day. There was even a time in Jokic's career where he quit basketball to pursue his passion for horse racing. Nikola Jokic wasn't exactly the prototype for an NBA star. In 2014, he was still in Serbia, playing for Megabasket in the Adriatic League. He wasn't the most athletic guy on the court, nor was he the flashiest. Instead, what set him apart was his incredible basketball IQ, his passing vision, and his uncanny ability to control the game. But in a draft class stacked with high-flying athletes and explosive guards, Jokic's skills weren't enough to make a lot of noise. Scouts weren't sold. The draft experts were skeptical about his conditioning, his lack of explosiveness, and the fact that he wasn't playing in one of the big European leagues. But Denver took a shot on him at 41st overall. Jokic arrives in Denver, and honestly, not much is expected of him. He wasn't even considered a sure thing to make the roster, let alone become the centerpiece of the Nuggets' future. Early on, Jokic was a bit of a mystery. He wasn't an immediate star. In fact, his first year, it was a lot of learning, adjusting, and even some doubting. But something kept emerging from him, a quiet brilliance as he showed flashes of his elite basketball vision. Slowly but surely, Jokic began to unlock his full potential. His passing skills were like nothing the NBA had seen from a center. He wasn't just setting screens and grabbing rebounds. He was running offenses. He was quarterbacking plays from the center position. He was the point center before it was cool, and with each game, Jokic refined his skills. He began to dominate in ways no one expected. Fast forward to 2021, and Jokic wins his first MVP. Then he does it again in 2022. 2 consecutive MVPs. Let that sink in. The guy who was drafted in the middle of a Taco Bell ad is now the best player in the league. But Jokic didn't stop there. He wasn't just content with being one of the best players in the league. No, he had one more thing to accomplish. He wanted to bring a championship to Denver. In 2023, Nikola Jokic did the unthinkable. He led the Denver Nuggets to their first ever NBA championship. He capped off one of the most statistically dominant postseasons in history, cementing his legacy as one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And all of this, it happened because Jokic's journey wasn't about hype or expectations. It was about pure skill, hard work, and a love for the game. Let's recap. Nikola Jokic's journey to becoming an NBA legend is one of the most remarkable and inspiring stories in basketball. Selected 41st overall in the 2014 NBA draft, Jokic's entry into the league was anything but conventional. The moment he was drafted, the selection was buried in the middle of a Taco Bell commercial, and no one expected him to become the force he is today. At the time of the draft, Jokic wasn't your typical NBA prospect. He wasn't an athletic marvel or an explosive scorer, but Denver took a chance, and they would eventually be rewarded in ways no one could have predicted. And there were doubts about whether he would even make the Nuggets roster. But even in those early days, his unique basketball IQ and passing vision began to shine through. There were moments in his rookie season when fans and analysts questioned whether the Nuggets made the right call. But Jokic wasn't worried. He was focused on his craft, quietly developing his game while showing flashes of his extraordinary talent. As time passed, Jokic's skills flourished, and by 2021, he earned his first MVP award. That season, he averaged 26.4 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 8.3 assists per game, an unbelievable stat line for a center. He didn't just dominate the game with his scoring, his passing, court vision, and ability to control the flow of the game made him a true game changer. The NBA had never seen a big man like this. The Nuggets were no longer just a team on the rise. They had a legitimate MVP candidate leading them. The following year, he claimed his second MVP title. Jokic's rise is a story of patience, hard work, and perseverance. He didn't have the flashy debut, the hype, or the athleticism that some of his peers enjoyed. This was the story of Nikola Jokic. Like and subscribe for more hoop content, and comment down below what the most shocking part of Jokic's story was.